unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. Boxingego unpack. Yeah. We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. Yo, so the faith is low in Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez is becoming an underdog in boxing, and I'm going to explain that in this video. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I am back with some more boxing. Now, this is a collection of different interviews from boxing authorities, people in the sport of boxing, boxers, promoters, etc. And I kind of want to capture it all in this particular video, so follow along. Now, the reason why I'm saying Canelo is now becoming an underdog in this Unpacked, We Unpack, coming to you live, is because I've seen a shift, a paradigm shift in the viewpoints of Canelo Alvarez. You look at some pound for pound list. Now, I'm not a big pound for pound list type of person for obvious reasons. I think they're insanely subjective and biased, especially old media's pound for pound list. But Canelo has fallen from grace. Like, Canelo was on the same list as the #1 fighter, saying he was the fighter. He himself says he believes he's the #1 person in boxing, despite losing to Bivol, right? And now you're seeing Canelo much lower, like spot number 5, number 6, and you're seeing guys like Errol Spence, Crawford, Usyk, and Inouye's, who are all undefeated and have been looking better and looking more of a puzzle. You're seeing them get higher ranked on the pound for pound list. Now, Bob Arum did a recent interview and he was talking to Fight Hub, and he says that the Benavidez fight is a good competitive fight. And I'm just going to paraphrase, but he said it's a good competitive fight because Canelo Alvarez definitely hasn't been looking as good as we've seen him in the past. And I agree to that. You also have Deontay the Bronze Bomber, oh my God, from Tuscaloosa, Alabama to this day. You got Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder, former WBC heavyweight champion. And he says that he believes that's easy work or an easier fight than people think for David Benavidez to defeat Canelo, because he says basically David Benavidez is too big and Canelo's too small. And, you know, he likes where Benavidez is at, and this is Benavidez off the heels of the Caleb Plant performance. And this was the ES News interview, and I didn't look at the actual date to see if it was before the David Benavidez Caleb Plant. I know it was around the time, but I don't know if it was actually before the fight happened. So it's a possibility, if you look at the date, that Deontay Wilder said this leading up to the fight, before David Benavidez even beat Caleb Plant, which further lets you know that the opinions of Canelo Alvarez have started to shift, certainly. And I find it funny, you know, Canelo, he's a good fighter, but I've said the same thing on my channel before, and now, like, I'm always in this boxing game, I'm always on the front lines when it comes to this. I'm always the founding, like, one of the founding forefathers of talking points in boxing, because I say my honest opinion, hit record. The videos are pretty much instantaneous as soon as I get to record and then edit them, and then you guys get them. So my opinion typically comes out before, you know, a reporter can do an interview with the fighter and stuff like that. And I told you before the Bivol fight, before he even lost to Bivol, that I seen Canelo's time in the sport as what he's been regarded as coming to an end. And I said it's the end of the Canelo era, because Canelo says me eta and things like that. And at the time, this was not necessarily a fashionable thing to say. At the time, people had all types of gripes and said, oh, you're hating and you're not right. But with time, you've seen that more and more people seem to pretty much be agreeing with what I said way back last year, at the beginning of last year. And I spotted it a mile away, and now it's looking to come into fruition. And at the end of the day, people aren't looking at Canelo Alvarez as the formidable force that he was built up to be, right? People think he's beatable. You're seeing, and the reason I can always tell is because when you lose the favor, you're always going to be judged by your peers. At any job, you're going to be judged by your peers, and people who work in this industry, be it Bob Arum, Hall of Fame promoter, or Deontay Wilder with 10 title defenses, former heavyweight champion. These people are letting you know that, you know, they see Canelo kind of being ripe for the picking. And now things get really interesting. And I'm going to explain why it gets interesting. Because Canelo, if he's a true fighter and he's hearing these claims and people saying Benavidez will beat you, Benavidez will whoop you, you don't want it with David Morrell Jr., people saying that Canelo hasn't looked as good. Canelo, Oscar De La Hoya, he's another person. I didn't even add his quotes, but to paraphrase, Oscar De La Hoya says that Canelo has been regressing. He continues to fight non-American, non-Mexican fighters, a bunch of European, British fighters, and De La Hoya, his former promoter, called him out on that, which is what I've been saying before any of these people were saying these things, right? So your own promoter and former friend De La Hoya says he's regressing and he doesn't believe he can beat Bivol at 168 or 175. So this can work one of a few ways, and it all depends on Canelo and his mindset. Because when the public opinion starts to shift and change about who you are as a fighter, you as a fighter have an awesome opportunity to either succeed or fail. And it's going to be very interesting, which is why I'm making this unpack video for you guys. Please subscribe. It's going to be interesting to see how Canelo responds, because you could tuck your tail and curl up and succumb and hear all these complaints and hear people not having the same faith and saying you're washed. Like, it's like there's a quote from Drake where he said somebody said I fell off. Ooh, I needed that. He said something to that effect where they're saying I fell off. Ooh, I needed that. So this is Canelo's. They're saying you fell off. Ooh, you needed that moment to show who you are. If Canelo continues to fight British fighters on DAZN and golf all the time and look how he's looked in recent performances, then that shows you these opinions aren't far from the truth, that Canelo is not the same fighter. Or an option B would be Canelo Alvarez hears the commotion and hears people say what they've been saying, and how the world of boxing is now starting to view him as, you know, worn or ran down or not as good or lost something along the way, and then he can rise to the occasion. Now, I'm not a soothsayer. I'm not a psychic. I can't predict which way it'll go, but I do know that the walls are closing in on Canelo Alvarez, and there's certainly a pressure for Canelo Alvarez, because this is like really a microcosm of what a fighter is or what a fighter should be. Your back is against the wall. Now it's your time to show your character. And I must admit that Canelo Alvarez is not, you know, on the best path so far with proving his character, because if he wanted to prove his character, you said you beat Dimitri Bivol and you had an opportunity, like you wrote into the contract that there was a automatic immediate rematch clause, but then you didn't take it. So that shows me a little bit about your character, because Andre Ward, he heard similar criticisms when he had the victory over Sergey Kovalev. But Andre Ward, being who he is and showing you who he is and his character, that wasn't good enough. He was like, y'all think the Kovalev fight was too close? I got you. Watch this. And then he went right back into the danger zone and whooped Kovalev even worse by stoppage and made it more definitive. And that's what Floyd Mayweather did with Maidana. Floyd Mayweather did with Castillo. That's what Sugar Ray Leonard did when he lost to Roberto Duran. He went back to beat him in the immediate rematch and then later beat him in the trilogy fight as well. So Canelo, his back is definitely against the wall. People's opinions of him and his selection process and who he is currently in 2023 is certainly not what it was years ago. And Canelo Alvarez, he keeps calling himself the face of boxing. Again, now is your time to prove it. People aren't going to be good with you keep fighting John Ryders and Makubuk Air and guys like that. They want to see what you're really made of. So this is the best time to actually show that you're still in it. You're still dedicated to the sport of boxing, and prove the quote unquote haters or doubters or people who are naysaying, you have an opportunity to try to prove them wrong at this particular juncture. So if Canelo doesn't go after BENAVIDEZ and Morales and the Andrades and, you know, Bivol under the same terms of the first fight, Beterbiev and these other top level elite fights, it shows that Canelo truly has regressed, and he all these things that people are saying, like Bob Arum saying he hasn't looked as good, then it's proving that it's true. Again, you have the opportunity to prove people wrong, and the way you do that is to prove them wrong by doing what they say you can't do. If they say you're not the same and you fell off, or you're not as good or not looking as good, and you're not pound for pound, and Wilder's saying that BENAVIDEZ is too big, then you shut all those people up by proving that BENAVIDEZ ain't too big and you're not too small, and fighting him and beating him. So if you don't do those things, good luck to you. So we shall see how Canelo decides to play his hand. So far, not necessarily looking good. A lot of people seem to be losing faith in Canelo Alvarez. There's a lot of young up-and-coming fighters in boxing throughout the sport. Like Gervonta Davis says he's the face of boxing, and a lot of young guys who are looking promising and looking to fill those voids, you know, left from previous fighters. Canelo has been boxing since age 15. I guess we'll find out in due course how it all plays out for the remainder of Canelo's career. Drop your thoughts in the comments section. We unpacked. Introducing Super Thanks. Right here on the official Boxingego YouTube. Super Thanks allows you, the viewers, to show a little bit of extra gratitude, which enables me as a full-time content creator to push out the content you need in the world of boxing. Underneath all the videos, you will see a heart with the $sign in it. You can enter any amount that you find suitable as a super thanks. A brand new interactive and colorful way to get your comments highlighted and noticed by not only myself, but other people on the YouTube platform. Super thanks, a unique and cool way to show and applaud us full-time content creators. Hopefully you guys enjoy the content. Super thanks. The future is now. The Hibernation 5s by Kenichi Bear. Hybrid gaming and lifestyle headphones. Out of the box, you can connect to any console or PC. Bluetooth ready with a low latency USB adapter, color RGB, and extreme bass mode. The Hibernation 5s adjust to you. Whether you need a gaming, travel, gym, or lifestyle headphones, the Hibernations got you covered. The new Hibernation 5s, link in the description. Customize the way you hear the world. Welcome to the nation. Are you tired of your YouTube videos not getting any views? Well, consider TubeBuddy. I've used TubeBuddy for years to scale up my YouTube channel. Now we're sitting over 200,000 subscribers. TubeBuddy is a browser extension that offers a ton of built-in productivity and time-saving services to take your channel to the next level. Use my link in the description to get started with TubeBuddy and level up your channel faster. We working.